too many titties in this book. This book is just filled with titties. Welcome back. It is another halcyon evening at the end of the Anthropocene. Believe it or not, I have books to show you. And I have quite the stack. But I'm just chilling, and I've got to process the stack of books one way or the other. So if you want to hang out with me, you should feel free to do that. It's a very very chill activity, so I just invite you to come be chill with me. Okie dokie. Top of the stack we have Prelude to Foundation. It's in pretty decent shape. There's a little bit of tearing on the cover. It's not a real tear. It's one of those sort of fractious tears. I found a book club edition of Fountains of Paradise. This is one of my favorite Arthur C. Clarke books. It's a great concept. I have personally toyed around with writing stories about space elevators, and it's a really tough topic to tackle, surprisingly enough, but I think Clarke does it pretty well. So I have a number scattered in through here, Greg Bear hardbacks, and I'll kind of talk more about that later, but these are fun. Again, this is something that you encounter a lot in paperback, but it's nice to actually find a hardback in good shape. This is also a book club. Yeah, this is a book club. I found a copy of The Difference Machine by William Gibson and Bruce Sterling. I haven't read this. I'd really like to. I may actually hang on to this and read it before I sell it, but the cover art on this has always just boggled my mind because it really does. You can see that it's a computer, but it's pretty big. Anyway, so I was thrifting with my wife, and she brought this one to me, and I think I yelped. Not because it's a great book, but it's Piers Anthony and Philip Jose Farmer. So that's not something you run across every day. I was very excited to see that. Yeah, I'm not a big Piers Anthony fan. I'm sure I've mentioned that before. Yeah, it's a first edition. But, I get that he is loved for many reasons, even the cringe ones, and that's fine. It's kind of hilarious to me. In that same vein, also found this Piers Anthony, Mover's Magic, and Serpent Silver. I don't know anything about these Piers Anthony books, so I do have a lot of them on my eBay page right now because I've actually found in the same thrift store another huge hoard of them. Somebody was getting rid of all of their Piers Anthony hardbacks. I don't even think that this is the last in stacks I have here. So then we've got another Greg Bear. This is Anvil of the Stars. This is sequel to the Forge of God, and I did find a hardback Forge of God in here somewhere. They're in these stacks. After I did the video about the three-body problem, I had somebody reach out and message me, and they said I had a few things to say, and that's okay. But one of the things that they said, kind of jokingly, is that they now want to hear my take on the Forge of God, because it's a very similar premise in a lot of ways. And I haven't really read much Greg Bear. I'm familiar with him, but it just seems a little fortuitous that these have come into my possession, so I think I have to read them now. I even found a trade paperback version of the Forge of God along with a hardback, so I got both of those. A few copies of those now. I guess there's no reason not to read them. Found a hardback edition of Homecoming. And I found a copy of Buying Time by Joe Hadelman, which it still has the Man in the Tube. The paperback, I believe, has the same sort of thing going on, but it's a lot of fun. Here's the Forge of God. It's great. I love this cover. It's just like the paperback, but and that's a book club edition. Also found a copy of Contact. This is a first edition. I've sold these before online, and especially in good condition. They always sell, so that's pretty exciting. I do not like L. Ron Hubbard. I don't like the idea of L. Ron Hubbard. I don't like what he did. But occasionally you find hardback first editions of his science fiction books, and when you do, I think of him like any other science fiction author, and I grab them. So I found a copy of Old Dog Methuselah, so for what it's worth. I found this one. This is this is a compilation edited by Lester Del Rey. I think this is definitely an ex-library copy, but I think it left the library quite a long time ago. 1974. Yeah. What do we got in here? Bester, Spinrad, Martin, Simak. Yeah, Cole, Anderson, Lafferty, Spinrad. Yeah. It's about what I would expect from Lester Del Rey. It's cool. I love that though. That font's really fun. I wish I could make a thumbnail look like that, but I'm not smart enough. Found a copy of Empire Building by Ben Bova. I believe this is also a collection. I could be wrong. I don't know anything about this one now. It's a novel. And then this was a real treat. This Immortal by Roger Zelazny. Look at that. That's just wackadoo. That is. You see this? Yeah, it's like a DMT skull. Yeah, this definitely appears to be in the DMT universe. Very cool. Let's see what year that is. This is a book club edition. And then Planet of Adventure by Jack Vance. This book's got a little bit of a lean to it, and it's an ex-library copy, but what a find! What a find! Yeah, this is a first edition, October 1993. Very fun. Then I came across this collection, Science Fiction in the 1930s, edited by Damon Knight. Damon Knight, if I'm not mistaken, pretty sure I don't have my names mixed up. He used to edit a bunch of the Galaxy collections. And this is a book club edition, but pretty sure there's a date. Yeah, 1975. So what have we got in here? Let's see. Reading Upside Down. Robert Wilson, Ray Lancaster. Yeah. Cool. Very exciting. Love the cover. And I'm a huge sucker for Eliot. One of the things, I'm just going to kind of rant about this for just a second. People approach the Wasteland in many different ways. And of course, it's Eliot's most famous work. I was obsessed with it as a teenager, and then probably well into my 20s. And I don't think it was until my kind of early mid-20s when I realized that the Wasteland it's like memberberry rap. Maybe that's not right, but it's like rap. When people are rapping, there's referential things in rap, and a lot of times, especially like hip hop. Hip hop is self-referential in a lot of ways. There's hip hop that references hip hop, and there's callback and response and that sort of thing, but it's deeply self-referential. And that is what the Wasteland is. The Wasteland is basically just Elliot rapping and making calls. He's calling out other lit that he's familiar with, and it's basically Elliot just going, "Look what I've read. Look what I've read. Look what I've read. Look what I've read. Did you get that? Did you get that? I put that in there, you know." And he's trying to tease everybody with the referential circle jerk of British literature. And if you're not following that, it kind of feels like Elliot's just pulling all this out of his ass, but every single line of the Wasteland is referential to something. And it really is just Elliot flexing. He's just flexing. He's saying, like, look at what I've read, guys. Can you find the reference? Do you know the reference? Have you read as much as I have? That's all it is. Anyway, I'm a sucker for it. I have no idea who David Eddings is. He might be fantastic. I don't know. I saw it on the shelf. I recognize it as fantasy. It's a part 1 in this series, so I figured, what the heck? And it's in good shape. So, yeah, I feel like it's probably a Piers Anthony clone. You know, maybe you guys know. You can tell me. You can educate me. But I have no clue. I found a copy of Ghost from the Grand Banks by Arthur C. Clarke. That's pretty fun. Love the Fractal. It's a fine book. It's not bad. Not awesome. It's not bad. Let's see. Are we going to take a sci-fi detour? Not yet. Not yet. Let's go through the... So I have this pile right here. I know there's people out there that love C.J. Cherryh, and she's very prolific. Anyway, I found, I usually just can't not run into C.J. Cherryh paperbacks, but today I found an incredible number of hardbacks. I found Port of Eternity. I found The Fortress and the Owl of the Owl. I found Fortress of Owls. There you go. Rider at the Gate. I found a hardback copy of Invader. I think this is, that's a regular edition. Then a hardback copy of Defender. And let's see, a hardback copy of Precursor. A hardback copy of The Prince of Shauner. The Gift Strike Back. Shauner's Adventure. You can't see that anymore, can you? Shauner's Adventure. Rim Runners. Hammerfall. And Araphel's Saga. So that is quite a stack of C.J. Cherryh hardbacks. And, yeah. I don't know where the market for C.J. Cherryh is. I have quite a lot of her. And I have quite a lot of her for sale, too. And every now and then I get somebody that bites that's into her. But by and large, I don't know. I don't know much about her. And I haven't had very many people talk to me about her. So, yeah, I don't know. But that's a nice pile. And we're going to find a home for them. Okay, we're going to veer away from the science fiction for just a second. I think you can see right here, I've got this pile of stuff. We'll get it out of the way. This is a Japanese, a print for Japanese market of Beatles songs. And let's see, this was all these great pictures in here. I have no idea. So you can see each one is labeled with the kanji translation underneath it. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. Here, let's come in a little further. You can see the kanji. But basically this is just your standard songbook. And we've got a little bit of translation going on, but then it gives you the original lyrics and the translation of the song, the chord patterns. Anyway, this is pretty rad. I couldn't walk away from that. I've never seen anything quite like that. This one is an illustrated Beatles lyrics. So this has lyrics to Beatles songs with fancy art illustrations, but I cannot open this on YouTube. There are way too many titties in this book. This book is just filled with titties, and I can't. Yeah, even though I'm not monetized, nor will I ever be monetized on this channel, I don't really want to. I don't want to get in trouble. Anyway, so Beatles titty book. And then this is a book that has just a compilation of Beatles articles that are reprinted on newsprint. So none of these are original. I don't even think this was published some time ago, but not. Yeah, 77. Okay. So I don't know. And then I found this one. I couldn't walk away from this one. This is just a giant book about punk rock. There's probably titties in this book too, but yeah. See, then a couple weeks ago, I was at a thrift store. I usually don't pick up volumed sets unless it's complete and it's something that I think is cool and needs to be saved from the dumpster. And I did think that these need to be saved from the dumpster. This is The Story of Mankind, a picturesque tale of progress. And these books are radical. And they basically just go through and briefly touch on the technological process or progress of man. So this is volume 2, volume 3, and volume 4. It's very cool. These are very cool books. I like Studs Terkel, so I usually grab his books when I find them. I probably won't keep this one, but I just like to keep them out of the landfill. I also find a lot of Native American books, and a lot of that has to do with the region that I live in. And there's some really incredible Native American textbooks and just general books. Some of them are very strange. Some of them are one-offs. I'll give you an example. This is a book called Indians of the Mesa Verde. This is clearly not a widely published book, but even some of these older texts, I believe this one's from the 60s, they're gonna give you a historical perspective based on their time. And especially with Native American history, there's probably things that are truths that are closer to the past that can be found in some of these. And because these are in limited print, books like this are in limited print, I really try to save them and then put them out there on the internet for people who are genuinely interested in studying these things and maintaining the presence of books like this. This is another example. This is a little bit different. This isn't a book about Indians, but this is a guide to the Colorado ghost towns and mining camps. And this is actually the second copy of this book that I've been lucky enough to find. And it's great because I get to keep one. I was very reluctant to sell the other one. But this is a book, that is clearly specific to the region and my state and people who are into this sort of thing. So I just think it's pretty fantastic. This to me feels like historical salvage, and I get very excited when I find things like this. I also get very excited when I find things like this. This is America's Garden book. Older texts like this about gardening and ecology are very important for understanding where we currently are and how different things actually are. And, being at the end of the Anthropocene, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're all doomed. So we need to hang on to stuff like this. We need to make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't end up in a landfill. I actually found 2 copies of that, which is pretty wild. Both of those are from the 30s. I also skipped past all of the religious books for the most part. There are always an obscene number of Christian books on the shelves in the thrift stores that I hunt in. But sometimes you find something interesting. This is a book called Lives of the Saints, and this is clearly one of those special few books that needs to be saved because it is filled with beautiful color plates like that. And somebody put some real money into this printing, and that's probably money that didn't go to taxes, but we ended up with this lovely book. So as taxpayers, I guess we did pay for this book somehow. We might as well enjoy its existence. But yeah, this is the Lives of the Saints. This goes through all of the different saints. This was published, let's see, in 1954. So my wife brought home a first edition of the Andromeda strain the other day, which was pretty exciting. It doesn't have the dust jacket, but it is still a first edition, and I did look, and these, even without the dust jackets, these are still sought after, so that's exciting. It's very black. I like that. It's very cool. This is another one of the Native American books that you can tend to run into here. Well, it hasn't been opened in a while. So this gives, oh, that's awesome. Anyway, so this was published in 1966, Indians of the United States. I think it's valuable to hang on to those, or get them in the right hands. She also found this copy of A Study of Communism by J. Edgar Hoover. And it's really funny because in the front of this, there's a little placard here. And this basically just says, I know we're talking about communism, and that's bad, and communism's bad. But sometimes we gotta learn about bad things, and so it's okay for you good Christians to read this book about communism. It doesn't mean you're a communist. It was written by J. Edgar Hoover himself. So, and it's signed J. Edgar Hoover. People forget, oh no, I'm sorry. It's not signed by J. Edgar Hoover. That's signed by Vice President of Vernon Manor Hotel Corporation. Interesting. They must have had this in a hotel on display, and they didn't want anybody to think they were communists. People forget that J. Edgar Hoover ran this country for a long time. So that's fun. Also found this first edition copy of Man in Black, the book about Johnny Cash, so I was kind of excited to see that. And along with the Beatles stuff, I found this book, The Lives of John Lennon. Here's another, this is a trade paperback of Anvil of the Stars. Okay, so this is one I was really eager to talk about. So I haven't read this one. This is Strange Brains and Genius. This guy, Clifford Pickover, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, maybe you have. He's got a fair number of books out there, and they're all kind of published in this trade paperback style. He's got this one book called Sex, Drugs, Einstein, and Elves. And honestly, I mean, even as a person who went to college for creative writing, it is one of the best books that you can read if you want to write science fiction. It's incredible. The advice that he gives is unlike any advice that I ever received in writing school. In writing school. But it's just on the money, and I'm sure that this book is going to be just as interesting. It's the Sex, Drugs, Einstein, and Elves isn't primarily focused on writing, but there's a huge segment about writing in it, and it's completely worth it. Pickover's books are awesome. Also found a first edition of the Black Stallion in really great condition, so that's fun. I don't know. This is another Native American book. This is The Sacred Hoop by Paul Gunn Allen. Who have we got here? Photo by Richard Rooks. Page 45, Death. Okay, then. And we're there. Interesting. We'll come back to that. Okay, we're almost kind of at the bottom of the stack. I'm not going to run everything past the camera, but I do want to show you just a few more here. I love physics books. I found this book, Order Out of Chaos. Also found a copy of Generation of Swine by Hunter S. Thompson. And I thought this was really fun. This is a copy of El Nom de la Rosa by Umberto Eco. And it's actually in Spanish. So that's always fun to find. I love finding alternate language editions of stuff. Then I found a hardback book club edition of Quicksand by John Brunner. The front's got a little wear on it, but this is still amazing and in great condition. I have a lot of Brunner paperbacks. I haven't encountered sort of an original hardback. And I also found this. This doesn't have the dust jacket, but it's Stand on Zanzibar by Brunner. And then the top has got this great purple thing going on, which is rad. And then my wife came up to me and she put this in my hand, and I was just astounded. This is Earthworks by Brian Aldiss. And it's a book club edition, and it is in perfect shape. And I was so excited. This was for me, this was the find of the day, and no one can have this. This is mine. You know, as one does in the 2020s, I sat down this evening and read one of those terrifying climate articles. You know, fuck it, I don't want to talk about this. Let's just look at books. Books are way more fun than talking about the end of the world. Okay, so I went to that same thrift store that I'd mentioned before that's always just got crazy good vintage sci-fi, and some of this off the top is not from there, and so we're gonna blow through that real quick, just kind of see what's there. But it's just nuts. I was going through the shelves. I had one of those just delicious moments where, you know, every next shelf is just filled with something completely bananas, and more so than the last shelf. I doubt that they went into the box in that order, and there's no way that I could possibly recreate it. But just know that it happened, and it was very cool. That it was just this perpetual, like, oh, okay. So I found a copy of The Land of Terror by Edgar Rice Burroughs. These are always fun, and there are people that collect these, so I grab them. This is a 77 edition of Dune. I have several mixed sets right now. I'm trying to collect various print editions and get them all together in complete sets. and only sell them in those sets. That's how I would want to buy them. So this is just going to go into a box of a bunch of other Dune books that are waiting to all be collected. These two William Golding books, The Spire and Free Fall. I actually have another copy just like this somewhere. Not science fiction, but cool. This is Critical Mass at Frederick Pohl and C.M. Kornbluth. We will see some more Kornbluth in a few minutes, and that was pretty doggone exciting. It's a copy of Song of the Stars by Norman Spinrad. This is a book called Samurai Cat Goes to Hell by Mark E. Rogers. I don't know if anybody knows anything about this book, but it looks incredible. We have a literal samurai cat. He is armed. It looks like we have some Velociraptor Nazis, maybe? This just looks like an incredible work of art. I don't know that I'm going to sell this one. This is amazing. Got a copy of The Star Fox by Poul Anderson. James Blish, Star Trek #9. Spock Must Die by James Blish. Tarzan of the Apes by Burroughs. And then there's a Conan book and another Conan book. And then Halcyon Drift by Brian Stableford. Very excited about that. I don't think I'm letting that one go. And then Night Face by Poul Anderson. This is an absolutely terrifying cover. Yeah. Terrifying. So, then I have a copy of Isaac Asimov writing as Paul French, Lucky Star and the Moons of Jupiters. And Moons of Jupiter. Very cool. Set that. Let's set these guys aside. We got some more to blow through here. Merkheim by Poul Anderson. The Age of the Pussyfoot by Frederick Pohl. And then I have The Best of C.M. Kornbluth. Super excited about that. I'm not letting that go. This is mine. The Best of Lester Del Rey. Then there's a paperback Ford Foundation. We talked about that earlier. Wave Without a Shore by C.J. Cherry and Brothers of Earth by C.J. Cherry. Chera. Robot Dreams by Isaac Asimov. The Speed Merchants by Frederick Pohl and C.M. Kornbluth. I'm doing a really shitty job of showing you this, aren't I? Sorry about that. I apologize. You're probably not watching anymore anyway. That's okay. Berserker Man. Cordwainer Smith, The Planet Buyer. That is mine. That's incredible. I literally jumped up and down when I pulled that off the shelf. James White, Hospital Station. And then this is First Voyages. This is edited by Damon Knight. And so we've got Hyland, Van Voigt, Clark, Aldous, Le Guin, and more. Very cool. It's an egg with a rocket in it. Do you see that? There's nothing phallic about this whatsoever. It's just a normal egg and a normal rocket, and there's absolutely nothing sexual intended in this image whatsoever. We do not want to offend the sensibilities of the good Christians of the world, and we don't want you to be confused and think that that there's anything about this that is phallic in nature. There's nothing. All right, we're still going. We're still working our way through these shelves at the store, and I'm still just like, woo! What's coming next? What's happening next? What's happening? We got a copy of Childhood's End, a very cool copy. There's a Mac Reynolds here, the five ways secret agent, and the mercenary from tomorrow. Mac Reynolds is wackadoo. He's got some pretty interesting books. There's a Jerry Purnell here, Exile to Glory. Foundation Sphere. And then, I just reach under the shelf and out comes the Forever War right there. Bada boom. Very excited. Very, very excited. Found this copy of Second Foundation. I've found that one many times. And then a copy of Nemesis. And then another Mac Reynolds, Amazon Planet. I think we can all take a good guess about what that one's going to be like. This is a copy of Asimov's Mysteries. And then Isaac Asimov, a memoir. Isaac Asimov, The Science Fictional Olympics. Very cool. Very cool. Then Isaac Asimov, Life and Energy. Super rad. I was just spinning. I was absolutely freaking spinning. So I found a copy of The Edge of Tomorrow by Asimov. Found a copy of The Gentle Giants of Ganymede. Case Book of the Black Widows by Asimov. And then I got a Janet and Isaac Asimov, Norby Robot for Hire. The Solar System and Back, Asimov. A copy of The Gods Themselves. And then another Janet and Isaac, Norby Through Time and Space. These Norby books, never read those, but now I want to. Robots and Aliens. And then this great John Berkey cover, The Evelyn Gift by Simon Lang. And I guess at the bottom of this box, we're going to end this video where we started it, but with a little bit better version of what we started it with. And there's another hardback copy of Prelude to Foundation. So I got two of them. You can see why I feel like I need to stop picking them up. It was in my brain for good reason. So that's it. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate your time. I don't take it lightly. I also, I just appreciate you, tuning in, man. It's fun to make these videos. I gotta organize the books anyway, so this is a great way to do it. If you're interested in buying any books that I have, there's a link to my eBay page down in the description or down in the comments, and you can go for it, man. Make an offer. It's all good. No hard feelings. Take care. Don't be good to yourselves.